characteristic of religions.
You can write down online.
Okay. And like
religion or religions. Maybe just religion. With the I. Singular.
Get the fresh air.
To my understanding, characteristic of religion is you have God or God the Creator, and the Prophet, the Messenger, and revelation. There's the teaching or the what is legal is the characteristic of general religions. But to Buddhism,
what about salvation? It should be included.
I think it includes here salvation. It is the
command.
Salvation is different from revelation and
Salvation.
salvation is the aim of every religion, right?
Right, I think so, but I think the general characteristic of religions, you include a God, the Creator, the Prophet, the Messenger, and the revelation. There is the Bible or Quran, or anything as you want to say like the text. So there's, according to the text, there will be salvation or moksha or everything
For my,
in the end.
make some comment. For my understanding, I just think that what other people think of Buddhism is different from
Yes.
other religion. But the main difference is that Buddhism denies the existence of soul. The other is accept.
This is another plata. This is denial of soul.
Yes, I just made this because complicated. The key word here is complicated. Because of Buddhism, you make a scholar complicated because of we are not in this category. We are, our Buddha is not a God or creator. He is no messenger, and just he revealed or he discovered the teaching. So here in this context, Buddhism is unique, but that's why it makes complicated to the scholar Buddhism. So for general understanding, we can put Buddhism as one of the religions of the world as well. But if you look deep inside, we are not in this category. So we are in atheism, no God. That's the first sentence.
Can you repeat the first sentence and I think the last sentence?
The last
The last
sentence.
sentence, first paragraph, we see the denial of the
If there is no self, what is said, that is said. Yeah, that's right, because we are unique again, because we have no self and nothing.
And God creator, stroke, Savior.
Savior.
I owe you. You are.
I owe you.
You owe you.
Savior. Salvation. So, and the last sentence also confirm this again, because we are unique, we deny the self or non-self. So if non-self, who is going to be saved? So we know we don't need Savior, because we have no self to be saved. Any comment on the first paragraph?
I would like to know what is our task first.
Our task. Just to understand, I just read the first sentence. The keyword here I found is the complicate and
Issue, final issue.
Find issue on the first paragraph.
Yeah, the first trying to understand is make a complicate and characteristic of religions. In this characteristic of religions, we are not in that one. So that it make our Buddhism is more complicated. you want to put in a box. That is my understanding of the first sentence. And
non-Buddhism, they have shell is permanent.
yeah.
So it's like they like jam from Adam. So in Buddhism don't have shell. What is it that shape?
I think, sorry, you go on, please.
So that's why this book is complicated. It's difficult to understand without shell, like that.
As you know, this is the first paragraph of introduction. She tried to put the general knowledge and trying to draw to her argument or her keyword is the non-self. So first for the wider reader, so you need to inform them that Buddhism is unique from other religions, from the general knowledge. If in Western, they understand in religion. If religion is you have to comprise of God, prophet, and revelation. So this is just general knowledge to introduce Buddhism is unique from this thing. So there is a general knowledge, and she tried to draw onto her non-self here. So this is the general introduction paragraph, I think. Yeah. General
Statement.
Statement. Yeah.
Are you just explaining the first sentence, or you continue for this paragraph?
I just want you to know that.
I love to.
I think you are explaining the whole paragraph.
No.
Just wait.
I think that I just meant a characteristic of religion. So I just say here this is the characteristic of religion.
Yes.
So this for general knowledge. If you don't know what is characteristic of religion, we won't know what's the unique of
I
Buddhism.
think you trying to explain what Buddhism, how Buddhism become complicated, right?
Yeah, if according to characteristic of religion, we are
Buddhism
unique.
complicates.
Yeah, we are complicated than other religion in this sense.
So as you said, Buddhism is not in this category. If we define religion in these three categories,
Yes.
So how we can define Buddhism as religion?
So that's why you will hear about Buddhism is not religion, we are the philosophy, we are way of life. People often say that because of we are not in this category. That's why we often say that.
Does it mean that because of Buddhism is not in that three category, that's why complicated for us?
The writer tried to inform the reader that because in their sense, the knowledge religions have to be this.
It means that the author trying to say that she's not going to interpret Buddhism in this sense.
Yeah, in this sense, that's right. Only in the first sentence. Because of complicated, because of this, we are not in that sense. So,
Denies us existence.
so the second paragraph, the first sentence, the apparent denial of existence of an individual self or soul is contained in what is known as the doctrine of anatta, Sanskrit anattama, a teaching which appears if in somewhat different guises in all forms of Buddhism, except perhaps for a few modern hybrid forms. So what?
Key point is the denial of Buddhism. The teaching of anatta, denial of Buddhism appear in all form of Buddhism.
Anatta is
Doctrine of
a doctrine of
Denial
doctrine.
of
Anatta is a doctrine found in all forms of Buddhism.
Yeah,
That is my keyword. And any comment for this?
I think here the writer said to my understanding that Buddhism use another teaching to deny self.
Deny atta.
Sorry, again please.
Buddhism use another doctrine, another teachings to deny self-existence.
Yes, we can say like that. Because of anatta, and anatta is found in every major form of Buddhism as well.
Main thing he want to say here is, I think, want to say that Buddhism deny the existence of soul from the anatta doctrine.
The anatta doctrine is denial of the permanent soul.
We can also say all forms of Buddhism deny the existence of self.
Yeah, we can say, because this doctrine has found in all forms of Buddhism. You can say. So we move on to paragraph 3. This description of the doctrine of anatta reflects the way it is consistently propounded by Theravada Buddhists, and also the fact that it is traditionally considered to be the central doctrine taught by the Buddha. Here my keyword or my statement is anatta doctrine is propounded by Theravada, and we consider it the central teaching of the Buddha. That's the keyword. Thank you. Shall we move on? Any question, any comment for this paragraph?
Not the same.
The same, yeah.
No,
We are on the same page. Okay, next is perhaps because, as Malalasekara points out, it presents the utmost difficulty to many people. Other scholar writings about human beings in early Buddhism have approached the text with the aim of understanding the doctrine of anatta. So here again, like the above paragraph, it talks about anatta and it's difficult to understand. Every scholar trying to understand the anatta.
I think not every scholar, only scholar on they interested in human being.
Yeah, because we can see it's simple. Other scholar writing about Buddha, about human being in early Buddhism. Yeah. We also have time scope in early Buddhism. Yeah, that's trying to understand the anatta.
That anatta doctrine difficult
To understand.
he quotes
Is from
Mananasikala.
Actually, the writer here, she quote many writers as well. You know, 5 or 6 of them.
I think here she mentioned the source of anatta. The source, the text to understand anatta.
Yes. In my view, I can say that she literature reviews. She reviewed all the writer who mentioned about the anatta. Yeah. So we have 5 or 6 of them, I think. So paragraph 5 also have it, and paragraph Lomos on the next page. So, okay, I'm going to read this paragraph 5. In the mind-body relationship in Pali Buddhism, a philosophical investigation, however, stated that his intention is to attempt to understand the full meaning and actual implication of the teaching that all dhammas are anatta. So, dhamma anatta. So this is the person, another person who trying to understand him and trying to understand anatta. We have many of them. 4 or 5.
This is also literature review.
Yes, in my view, because before you talk anatta in your own view, you have to talk anatta in other person's view first. So here, any comment? So paragraph 6. Another approach in modern scholarship is exemplified by those who have concentrated on establishing that the early Pali texts teach elaborate psychology. I think this we need one more sentence. For example, this is the aim of Johansson. In his book, The Dynamic Psychology of Early Buddhism, he said his work is a psychologist's attempt to understand what the Buddha meant by dependent origination. Stay and again,
It's definitely trying to post from the author from philosophical point of view, who write on Buddhism book and philosophical point, and the next part of the message trying to post get some quotation from the author who write about Buddhism from psychology.
She tried to look in all angles, from philosophical, from psychological, and she make her reference to many people like we see here, Harris Roman and Johansson and Reed, and maybe some more. This is trying to see the different angles of another doctrine that already mentioned or stated by other writers.
This passage from psychological aspect.
Yes, psychology. We have learned that philosophical aspect, psychological aspect, maybe some approach to the text, the whole text of Buddhism, some approach to only Sutta Nikaya. Okay, we move on to paragraph 7. In attempting to answer the question, what is the human beings according to the Buddha's teaching, I decided, unlike others referred to above, to focus on the Sutta Nibbana, Sutta Pitaka of the Pali Canon, principally the 4 main Nikayas. So here, like Jaku has been said, she defined herself different from the rest of the writers. Now she said what she's going to write about this aspect and what sources she's going to use.
Start mapping. She's saying.
Yeah.
Source of the author.
Yeah, so this from here on she's going to use these sources in this letter. Any comment?
Okay, agree.
Kunali, what's your statement with paragraph 7?
Just smiling.
At the same.
7, okay, thank you.
I want to add more. I think she show her attention that she going to do something different.
Yeah. If you have nothing different from the above, you have no reason to write. Have something different.
No problem.
Okay, we move on to paragraph number 8. My approach to the subject was prompted by the Buddha's own concern with the human condition or the human being itself, an orientation which suggests that understanding the human constitution is important in the context of the following his teaching. So again, I think here she confirmed her statement that are also supported by the Buddha's teaching.
Yeah.
No comment.
Not feel exciting.
She confirmed that the Buddha main concern also human constitution.
He just gets support from the teaching.
Her point is supported by Buddha.
Yeah.
Now we come to paragraph number 9. The second key teaching is known as the formula-dependent origination, Paticca Samuppada.
This one is very clear.
Actually, this is the second key teaching.
And the first key,
Before we
the
have
phone
the
number
first
two.
key teaching, because we read only the first sentence, remember that?
The first key, the phone number two.
The phone number truth. Yeah. So this is the second key teaching.
Huh? The first key, no, the phone number
Paticca
two.
Samuppada.
Paticca Samuppada is the second key teaching, but in paragraph number 9 mentioned the second key teaching. We have the first key teaching. So far we haven't read.
First is no, but
The phone number two.
Yeah.
The first key.
So we move on number 11. This formula gives a synthetical explanation of how a human being comes to be born in samsara. And this only gives the more explanation on Paticca Samuppada.
Yeah.
I think nothing new, just more information. Any suggestion?
I think here he wants to say that Paticca Samuppada show the cause of rebirth.
Yeah, because the paragraph already mentioned about the Paticca Samuppada. This again she confirmed that again. Here we come to the third key teaching. The third key teaching is given by the Buddha in context. When he is asked about individual identity, when people want to know what am I, what is my real self, again, you know. So, Kunali, I think I need your help now. Please.
Individual identity.
Please.
Yeah. Individual identity.
Yeah. Can you give any statement or this paragraph? The key teaching is given by the Buddha in context.
Individual identity.
Yeah. Individual identity.
Just
We have
five
to go
cantos.
with the last sentence.
Five
Yeah.
cantos.
Next
We will
sentence.
Combine with the last sentence.
It's in 5 cantos.
Now we're going to read the last sentence. The 5 kantas are body, rupa, feelings, vedana, a perception and conception, sanya, volitional activities, sankhara, and awareness, vijnana. So here,
Before the sentence, in such context, the human being is analyzed into 5 constituents. The Panchakanta is individual identity.
so the whole paragraph here, if the Buddha was asked, what am I or what is my real self, the Buddha just answered
Only the
is
phone,
all
the 5 kanda.
the 5 kantas, yeah, the component of 5 kantas. Yeah. Is that right? Our understanding here?
Panchakanta as individual identity.
Okay, we move on. The next paragraph. The importance of the first 2 of these 3 key teaching is emphasized by their formulaic form. Formulas were often used as a mnemonic device in the oral tradition in which the Buddhist teachings took root. The two of these 3 key teaching is the Paticca Samuppada and 5 kanta, not with Four Noble Truth.
Maybe
No,
first
he said
first 2.
Oh, first 2, not 5 kanta.
Four Noble Truth and Paticca Samuppada are just like it just follow oral tradition.
Mm-hmm.
We read the last sentence. You can see the reason of the main issue.
I therefore chose to approach the study of human being by looking at the way the text describes the kanta analysis. with frequent cross-reference to Paticca Samuppada formula.
Yeah, that's why I'm his step on you're going to approach.
Here we understand there are three key teaching, and the first two is more important, or not important. The first two is only formula, and she's going to emphasize on Panchakanda approach.
The formula is an indication that they are key. That's the key teaching. The formula means that you repeat it again and again in the formula. That's what she said.
Formula of the Buddha teaching.
So how about my understanding? There are three key teaching.
Yeah.
The Four Noble Truths, Paticca Samuppada, and Five Khandha. But here she said because of the first two is only formula, and she's going to emphasize on Panchakanda analysis.
She doesn't say that the first two are not. The first two are less important. She doesn't say that. What she's saying is that if you look at avijja, pajja, sankhara, pajja, vijnana, you can see the rhythm. That's called formula. That's called formula.
Formula recitation.
Yeah, formula recitation. And that formula recitation means it's very important, everybody has to know it. So she is just backing up her earlier claim.
For my understanding, in the second line, formulas were often used as a mnemonic to help you to remember. So the formula is used for remember. If you're going to read the last sentence, I therefore choose to approach the study of human beings by looking at the way the text described in the Khandha analysis. With frequent cross-reference to Paticca Samuppada. I think the Four Noble Truths and Paticca Samuppada is a mnemonic way, just to remember something. So but she approaches to with
Third one, yeah.
Referring to Paticca Samuppada.
Yeah, correct.
Next paragraph. In all cultures, there is some kind of common sense view of what a human being consists of. I think from 13 to 14, I think just here, like the first paragraph, because of our common sense in the Western and in Eastern is different, so she gives a general explanation about it.
Western culture and
the common sense on culture.
To make Western people understand.
Yeah, yes, to give more information to reader, Western reader to understand again. I think like a general view for paragraphs, I think.
individual human beings have soul.
Next paragraph, in view of such diversity, just in the contemporary Western understanding of human being, one cannot assume a priori that any culture will have a consistent or coherent view of what constitutes a human being.
What priori?
Yeah, I have looked in the dictionary, so I am going to take chance here to explain it. A priori, then another word is a post priori. A priori, you take what you have known before to see the result at the present, and another word is a post priori, you see the present to look back in the past. For example, the example in dictionary, not mine. Eh? For example, if you have been working all days, you must be hungry. This is a priori. Because we have been eating anything in all days, so now we must be hungry. There's a priori because we look at the present. Yeah. But if a post priori, if you wake up in the morning and you see a wet floor or wet ground, you see because of wet ground, last night might be there was rain. So this you look from the previous action end to see the present, and now post priori you look the present to see the past. Yeah.
This means that you just see today and you cannot get assume that yesterday is.
Yeah. Prioritize, you look from the past to see the present, but post prioritize, you see the present to look back to the past. So here, we come back to our concern. In view of such diversity, just in a contemporary Western understanding of human being, one cannot assume a priori that any culture will have a consistent or coherent view of what constitutes a human being. Because here I understand it, she tried to understand human constitution. So now she just remind us, Western and Eastern, we have different understanding on human constitution. Number 15. My study of the Sutta Pitaka was undertaken with the initial view that where various interpretations of apparently inconsistent passages are equally possible, it would be faulty methodology not to attribute to the text a stronger interpretation that is the most coherent and intellectually powerful one, given their common doctrine background. Now she come back to her sources. Yes. And because of her sources, she had different interpretation, and she defends that the different interpretation is not because of inconsistent, it's not the faulty of methodology. I think if you read from the next paragraph, you will more understand because of insufficiency of term. Yeah, because the differences or inconsistent of interpretation is not a philosophical view difference, but because of the term.
And shortly speaking, ending, she just when associated, you have to be trustful and remind you to be trust on her source.
Yeah, that's right. She defends her source. Her source is reliable, even though the interpretation is different. But the interpretation is different. The difference is because of insufficiency term, not because the philosophical.
Because of there's not because of insufficient teaching.
Yes. If we read paragraph number 16 here, in discussion this point, the honor has suggested that this indicates a certain insufficiency of terms rather than unsettled state of philosophical and psychological terminology by the time the Nikaya came into being. So here, again, because of at the time when they compiled the Nikaya, the Sutta Nikaya, the term is not sufficient at the time.
Insufficiency of the term.
Not unsettled state philosophical and psychological terminology. So here they all agree, the view they all agree, but the use of the term is different. Any suggestion, any comments? Okay, we move on next page. 21, Act 1 is 21. 17, yeah? Another reason for the different use of terms in different contexts is the fact that texts are a comparison as mentioned above. Yeah.
Just 1 second.
Term is insufficient.
I listen to you now. I write down this one. Does it capture your understanding so far? Buddhism doesn't fit into a common definition of religion as it denies self, a position accepted in all Buddhist schools, as well as by contemporary scholars who study anatta philosophically and psychologically. So far, from this, you cover the 6 paragraphs with this. I will study what is human being using the early Nikayas, emphasizing 3 key teachings: the Fourth of the Truth, the Siddhanta, and Kanda in general, and in particular focusing on the Kandas in the context of Bodhisattva. There are different and incoherent interpretation. Incoherent cultural interpretation of what is human being. So I am cautious that the Sutta Pitaka can be inconsistent. It is considerably coherent, and whereas incoherence is found, it is because of the limit of language,
not because of
lack of philosophical and psychological understanding.
Oh.
Because of the Subrat.
No, I read early and just like you, now I listen to you and I write down.
Come to context.
Now, paragraph 18.
Yeah.
So the context in wisdom are found have to be taken into consideration when attempting to ascertain whether or not their measuring are different. Now she tried to decide when she found it inconsistent. So shall we read more or next sentence?
And here she just said that if there's words and in different contexts, we have to study its meaning.
Yeah.
Context and the term.
Context, context is important to understand our reading. Yeah. In the context in which them are found have to be taken in consideration when attempting to ascertain whether or not their meaning are different.
Meaning have to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, I think only one sentence is not really understanding it. One more sentence, I think, because you have to decide how to do it. I have accordingly tried not to explain a term in one context by taking out of context what is that about it elsewhere and thus arriving at the important definition. So here when she came to the terms, so she is not just taking out from one context, she will find the terms in another context and compare them all together to see a definition. So if with 2 sentences we can understand that.
I think she said we have to use the term to match with the context.
Yeah, because of the source is inconsistent. So when she have to choose how to choose the inconsistent, here the first 2 paragraphs she said the inconsistent occur in her sources, but that's not because of the philosophical issue, but it's the term in limit of term. So when she encounter a different how she decide to choose the term. So she look at the term in different contexts and came to a conclusion of definition.
Yes.
The Buddha's understanding of the constitution of the human being is best introduced in the light of a brief description of the way the doctrines and concepts he taught fit into the background in which he was teaching. So again, even the Buddha, he used the term to fit the audience. So
Context.
in one place, the Buddha used the term in one term, another place, he might use another term to refer to one thing. For my understanding is that. So if we take this consideration, the people who listen to the Buddha, they have no basic education like us today. So I think the Buddha must use very simple terms.
The main issue is the Buddha's method of teaching.
So even the Buddha have to fit, even the Buddha, his teaching had to fit the background in which he was teaching. So when he teach to farmers, he used one language. When he teach to Brahmana or Samana, might use another term.
Skillful teaching. Skillful.
Yes.
Skillful.
And like when you talk to children, or you talk to adults, or you talk to other people like this, you have to use different terms.
People and scholar.
Yeah. So we all understanding, for understanding it consistent. Yeah. So we move next paragraph. In this respect, the most central doctrine of the Buddha's teaching is based on his interpretation of the law of karma. Here again, the law of karma, as we know, is the period of Buddha's time. So the law of karma also according to the Buddha's interpretation here. Mother karma, or many words we use for like Japu said is from the Upanishad's time. We have Veda, and we have Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishad. Yeah. So this are period of Buddha's time. So Buddha used the word from already in use in that time and give new interpretation. So, can I comment? Inconsistency is also due to the process of comparison. Like the Buddha did, we have to take context into consideration when interpreting, example, how the Buddha interpreted radically the concept of karma.
Radical is to replace the word revolutionize.
Revolutionize is different from already existing. Karma is like a transmigration also, but Buddha gave a new meaning to it, so it's radically concept of karma. According to the Vedic tradition, sacrificial and enjoyment action are completely self-validating, whether or not a given section has any prima facie purpose or expected result. So I don't catch here.
Vedic tradition, basically ritual of karma. Karma in Vedic tradition, based on ritual, sacrifice, as an action.
Anyone can help?
Go on.
Several days in.
The main issue is to
Support shell, command shell,
Karma there is in Vedic period
Yes.
and in Buddha's time. Prima facie is, if no wrong have looked into dictionary, it seems correct, but actually is not. It looks as if it's true, but not true.
Is presumption.
Yeah,
It's a presumption. It's a presumption. The first presumption from the first impression.
Yeah, first impression.
Face này an han này nè, ở ta han không tăng này prima on tăng suốt, on ta han không tăng suốt này chậm chậm này quay cả này coi cả assumption quay tăng này.
Okay, move on next paragraph. In the
มันแค่ว่าเนี่ยมันแค่ว่าเช่นคือพระกับอันไหนมันที่ comparison มันที่เรียก comparison นะ comparison คาร์มาและวิติกเนี่ยคาร์มาและวิติกเนี่ยมันเอาจึงในพุทธศาสนาเอาสิรินาว่า sacrificial เนี่ยดูแลเฮ็ดจอมนะอันเขาเรียกว่าญี่ปุ่นสวมมุนอันเขาสองผีเนี่ยให้เฮ็ดจอมเสนอไงช่วยเฮ็ดจอมมันซึ่งอันเป็นเฮ็ดจอมเฉียวผิดทางเขาเฮ็ดจอมเฉลี่ยเขานะอันนั้นจะได้กับเปียตั้งนั้นนั่นจะได้กับเฮ็ดตั้งนั้นเฮ็ดจอมเสนอเพราะว่าเฮ็ดจอมมันก็ถูกว่าเพราะเฮ็ดจอมเจงเขาวันคนถูกในใจสุดนั่นแหละช่วยเจงก็ไหวนั่นเปียในเอาจอมขามันในวิติกนะเพราะเป็นเฮาสมใจวนเฮาว่าจิตนา
In the early Upanishad, karma is also central relevance in the doctrine of transmigration. The espouse.
Espouse นั่นเขายุ่มยำสิเลย promote you believe and promote.
Is relevant with the transmigration of the. The line after that is the soul. So transmigration is relevant. Yeah, I think she tried to give the new explanation according to Buddhism. What is the difference with the Vedic explanation of karma?
just giving the background.
Yeah, the background or the contrast. Because you want to put the contrast, you put the karma according to Vedic first, and then you put Upanishad to Buddha. Okay, we can go on. The Buddha took for granted the concept of rebirth in a series of lives, but revolutionized the concept of karma by teaching that karmic consequence according accruing to any particular individual are entirely dependent on his or her mental volition. Here the concept of rebirth or samsara, the Buddha took granted is what is already existing, in existing. So you took for free, took for granted is you take free. But give the revolutionized concept of karma is depend on the mental volition. So there's a new interpretation given by the Buddha. So the Buddha did not teach about the series of life or samsara, rebirth and cycle,
New definition of karma.
Yeah, that's that. But the cycling, but the life cycling is already lived at that time.
How many paragraphs now? Yeah, got
23.
33. 23. So it's up to this. 1, how many seven? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 606. Listen. Thank you. Let's see.
Like the Buddha did, we have to take context into consideration when interpreting, example, how the Buddhas interpreted radically the concept of karma very differently from very differently from the Vedic or Upanishadic belief. Summary, Okay, we move on. The contemporary developments in the Brahmanical religions and recorded in the Brahmanas and early Upanishads include new teaching that the sociological part is epistemological. Contemporary เนี่ยเป็นปันพระพุทธเจ้า
ใช่
มาถึง Brahmanas and Upanishads include the new teaching on the sociological part is epistemological อันตั้งนานและเป็นอันตั้งหลังแล้วเนี่ยนะเป็นแล้ว sociological part is epistemological. Anyone can look for definition. Sociological.
Study for salvation. Moksha.
Oh yeah, because I got the meaning of the epistemological is philosophy of knowledge. So theological part is the moksha part is also knowledge. I mean here is moksha is wisdom. In the concept of Brahmanical. So if you have wisdom, you have moksha. My understanding here.
No. If you are looking for the moksha or salvation, you have to come through wisdom.
Yeah.
Moksha or salvation should come with the understanding.
Identical knowledge.
Because Upanishad, you need your wisdom or understanding. It's not like a blind following the sacrifice process. Like you do this in order to get that. But come to Upanishad's time, you have to new interpretation. The way you do is to understand what is there. So epistemology is philosophy of knowledge. So if you have knowledge or you have wisdom, there is the part of moksha. So it's to realize stuff. Ataman with the Brahman. Anyone have new interpretation? You understand?
Yeah, that's a new teaching.
Friends of philosophy.
There's the contemporary of development in Brahmanical. Contemporary is the Buddha's time. So in Buddha's time, the belief or religion of that time has some kind of revolution. From the Vedic time. If you go back to Vedic time, Upanishad is revolution. Because we have that the word Nastika and Astika in Hinduism or in Brahmanism. Some revolution believe in Veda, some don't. So we have Nastika and Astika. Okay, we go on. In stating that liberating knowledge is the realization that the transcendent reality, Brahman, is identical with the individual self, Atman. The Upanishads are ultimately concerned with the being Sat. Yeah, the liberation knowledge, is the same word above, I think. So theological part and epistemology is the liberation knowledge.
Just explain the liberation in the concept of Brahma and Upanishads.
Yeah. If you realize that undermining yourself is the same with Brahman, the above. You get the moksha, you get liberation. The Upanishad, I think they have about 108 Upanishad. That's why we had. Yes. We go on paragraph 26. One must suggest that the consistency of the Buddha's concern with processes rather than substance is reinforced by his dismissal of questions concerning ontological issues. Ontological.
Branch of period.
Philosophy of philosophy of rebirth.
Nature and branch of period.
Philosophy of rebirth.
Study of
The Buddha focus on how more rather than what.
I just add this to cover 2 more paragraphs that you conserve karma and
Sociology, very different from. Reinforced by his dismissal of question and in Kotam Plan his dismissal question when someone what must suggest that the consistency of the Buddha, the consistency in our reject or dismissal consider the Buddha's concern with the process rather than substance is reinforced by his dismissal of questions concerning ontological issues. So the Buddha is concerned process rather than substance. Yeah, I think the key word is here.
That's right. Thank you. Got it.
Okay, we go on. All of this suggests that question about what cannot be experienced as part of the empirical human condition are considered to be speculative.
Ontological speculation.
So any question or any question we have no answer can be considered as speculative, right? Empirical can be
a question
any question about life.
about life that
Cannot be.
Yeah, cannot be experienced. Empirical human condition. By our condition, we cannot experience. We cannot give answer. So that can be considered as speculation. Based your view, only view. You need translation.
Imagination, similar to speculation.
Internalism.
Okay, go on. However, the question of ontology continues to arise in the scholarship of early Buddhism. Yes, the above paragraph already answered the issue of ontology, but
Speculation.
scholarship or scholastic have issue with it, have problem with this question.
although you said that don't ask questions.
Yeah. About any question that we cannot experience can be considered as speculation, but modern scholar. Yeah. However, the question of ontology continues to arise in the scholarship of early Buddhism.
In the scholar of early Buddhism.
Yeah, they still have question. Next paragraph, another frequently found term loka. which literally means world, is similarly ambiguous. I think she had already mentioned something about it in the.
No, he started to give definition of logos.
Another term.
Mm.
Jump to another terms.
Another
This
issue.
because Buddha no answer.
I go back to the last sentence of the paragraph and we see whether we have more understand. One of the most important insights for the bhikkhu to achieve is that all things are of like nature, not whether or not. The extended word is the projection of his mind.
There's ontological understanding. Ontology နဲ့
Another frequently found term loka is literally means
มันว่าจากไหน soteriology เนี่ยนะ moksha เนี่ย moksha เนี่ย อันเข้าใจปองใจนั่นน่ะอัน to understand น่ะพอเวดิกกับอุปนิชฌาย์เขาทำจาก ontology บุตรทำจาก ontology ทำจาก empirical experience เขาด้วยในกายอย่างไหนสิเขาหูว่าเป็น nature.
Okay, we go on to the next paragraph, number 30. The metaphorical use of the term loka predates the Buddha's teaching. Loka is used before the Buddha. It's not a new word. The Buddha did not create this word.
อันนี้ก็มันบอกว่า pre-Buddhist เนี่ยมันเป็น context อันนั้นอันนี้เป็น context หมดเนี่ยมันขึ้นสับแรงเนี่ยเปิดเอา context อย่างอื่น
So we go on. The way the term loka is used in the Sutta Pitaka is perhaps an extension of the meaning of loka in the Brahmanical religion. Is that right? We just extend the same word from Brahmanical. Is we clear? Yeah. Next paragraph. The metaphorical sense of loka is also suggested by the fact that it is used in similar context in the term dukkha. Here, loka and dukkha are same. Similar. Dukkha, loka.
Metaphorical sense.
Metaphorically, you use the upma, umeya. Okay, go on next paragraph. The cessation of dukkha or loka comes about when the craving, which is normally conditioned by feeling, no longer occurs. When craving utterly fades away and ceases, then grasping, becoming birth and cyclic existence in the samsara cease.
Let's talk about the second noble truth.
Cessation of dukkha.
The cessation of dukkha.
The cessation of dukkha also existence in samsara cease. Yeah. Okay. If one takes the first part of this passage out of context, they can be construed to be stating that both dukkha and the word arise as part of one's psychological experience of perception. You want to take the first part of this message. This message might may have teach you know. Out of context. Can be construed to be stating that dukkha and the word arise as part of one's psychological experience of conception.
Previous action. Previous.
Yeah, this passage, I think I will teach you. Okay, go on.
Wait, not understand.
Understand the remark of action in particular way. Construe.
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 Understand and
Which one is substitute for individual
understand.
usage?
CONSTRUE.
To understand a remark or action in a particular way.
Just to understand.
In a particular way.
Understand the meaning of a word, a sentence, or an action in a particular way.
In particular, you try to put from different aspect, different angle. A similar passage in the Anguttara Nikaya states, it is these 5 types of sensual desire.
Construe. Anupana.
It is these 5 types of sensual desire that are called the world in the discipline of the noble one. The noble one is number one. So,
The one may be the Buddha.
There's a quotation
Buddha.
from Anguttara.
A similar passage in the Anguttara Nikaya states, it is these 5 types of sensual desire that are called the word in the discipline of the noble one. Kamako, no. Kamako,เป็นกับหายเนาะเป็นโลกาเนี่ยอายุนะ
Where is the
5 types of sensual desire เนี่ยอายุเนาะ It is also the same, is called the word ของโลกาเหมือนกัน As a final example of this meaning of loka, I will draw on a passage in the Salayatana Samyutta where we read Bhikkhus. I declare that the end of the word is not to be learned, seen or attained by going to the end of the word. Nor do I declare Bhikkhus that the end of dukkha can be met without attaining the end of the word.
Subquote of tradition to support his idea.
Yeah, I think here the two words, dukkha and loka. Yeah, you cannot overcome dukkha by going at the end of the world. Yeah. So yeah, okay. What's up? Here one does not go to the end of the world, but attains the end of the world. Here is very clear. We not go, we attain this. We realize it. 2 points arise from the foregoing discussion. Also, crucial is to understand the term loka in Vedic Upanishadic context. It has both spatial and spatial.
Space นั่นมัน space นั่นมันใช่ว่าโลกาทั้งดอกมัน space.
It has spatial and metaphorical meaning. Example, in using loka for dukkha, the Buddha used loka metaphorically in psychological sense.
มีหลายพาคาเวีย
37 ออกนะ
37
37 ปอดอย่างนั้น Here one does not go to the end of the world but attains the end of the world.
Cessation of the world.
2 points arise from the foregoing discussion. The first point is that this passage and the possible interpretation I have shown illustrate the need for ambiguous passage to be interpreted in the light of a material as a world.
First point is that
มีทุกpointเลยนะ
Explain more.
Let's say the last sentence. I merely think that in view of the fact that Buddha clearly dissociates his teaching from anything to do with ontology, it is a mistake to project any ontological significance onto the text.
Because previously he has explained the meanings of loga in different contexts. So he said that is the first thing she does, and the second point is that she does not deny the concept of the scholars.
She is commenting on Johansson's interpretation. Johansson interprets Ajatangwa Bahitawa. And she thinks that interpretation, his interpretation, is wrong because he projects ontological approach on the Buddha's teaching. As far as she is concerned, the Buddha has no ontological interest. And Ajatangwa Bahita, มันเป็นอันนี้ว่าให้ที่ขั้นที่ขาดมาเพราะว่า
One see inside,
เพราะว่าเขาหันทั้งในห้องเนี่ยเขาไปหันไปทั้งนอก
one outside.
อันนั้นมันว่า interpretation นะพี่ this is problems of interpretation she's talking about. The problem comes because that person thinks the Buddha is interested in ontology. She thinks the Buddha is not. That is why the same passage has to be interpreted differently.
I would like to make the number 39. I would like to make one further comment here about the fact that my dissertation that the Buddha's teaching on what comprises the human being is consistently focused not on the substance of the constituent parts, but rather with what their function is and how they contribute to the complex of human function. The Buddha's teaching is focused on the constituent part and human function.
Not on constituent part, but on the function.
Oh yes,
The
yes.
constituent.
พอขึ้นหลับข้างไทยก็มันแจ้งว่าวายโยธาทุธาตุโลกเนี่ยธาตุโลกนั้นเป็นอีสานนะพุทธะพระเป็นสารผมพอสนใจรางวัลนะว่าพุทธะอันพระพระเป็นเราคัดจะป่องใจนะธาตุโลกเนี่ยมันเฮ็ดสั่ง
The function.
The function.
พวกมันเฮ็ดสิ่งนั้นนะอันหันเข้าหมอกก้นๆมานั่นนะอันธาตุโลกเนี่ยมันจะมีอยู่ส่วนแล้ว
A large part of the third volume of the Samyutta Nikaya, the Nakatabhisita, third volume Samyutta. Thank you. A large part of the third volume of the Samyutta Nikaya is entitled the Khanta Vagga, consists of the Khanta Samyutta, which exhaustively discusses the five Khanta. ในอย่างมาสวิตาที่กายมาถามกันเนาะมีขันธ์วักกะก็ลาสุลองขันธ์โอย้อนนำมาเลย Oh, we come to the last paragraph.
It's about contact.
Having discussed the 5 concepts, I will then go on to discuss 2 other key concepts with regard to the constitution of human beings, Nama, Rupa, and Manomaya. I think this is just conclude 2 more points you're going to for the next chapter. Yeah. And for the next introduction for the next chapter. See, and with these 2 points. Bo làm longคือมันลาเป็นในแต่เดียวกันลาแทงชับอยู่ทั้งนาแค่นะครับคืออะไรเนี่ยพอยังไม่รู้จักมีลาแทงตัวกันยังลาวกันแต่เอาเดินน้ำมันดูใช่ไหมเคยชับเจอมาเนี่ยว่าทำอันนี้ชับผมได้ผมจะได้เอาคนเดี๋ยวออกส่วนทำแบบขั้นตอนเดี๋ยวได้ชื่อฝ่ายประมาณเราเป็นชื่อชิ้นชอบที่ไม่ดียิ่งเลยที่ชื่อในเก่าแต่ตัวแทนสุขนะน้ำมันป้าไอ้มันลงไปยาปฏิมาการทำได้ชัดเลยมันเราว่าไปอย่างนี้นั่นนี่เราก็ไม่ได้เราสนใจมันมาบ้านเด็กจะเป็นคนหาตัว
In light of this, in my final chapter, I should show that there is no justification for holding the body to account for originating revolution which are to the circle
Okay.
Summarizing.
Anh làm việc tiền thì đúng không? Xin anh làm và đi này nó phường age nó phường
สอบอะไรมามาผูกในตายมันนั่นคือ PhD thesis. This is not a PhD thesis. Tomorrow is going to be a lot easier. This is the form of truth by Rupert Cathy, Oxford University Press, one of the textbooks.
Thank you.
I could make Asian. Atom David, have you heard me grammatically? Because of the limit of language,
Oh, because of
the limit of language,
the limit of language.
that should do.
Yes.
And because of lack of philosophy, not because of lack of philosophical and psychological understanding. Do you want to put the here, the lack of?
No.
Just lack of.
Yes.
I just go by my gut feeling.
Yep. Reliable in this instance.
Yes. Một phút này thì luôn này nè, một phút luôn này, mỗi khi xong thìดูนะก็รู้ให้เจ้าในวันที่25 ออกยาวันที่26ใน presentation วันที่27này khai định quạt bằng lôวันที่27này còn là lưu lịch hay bản hoài homeworkขึ้นเตรียมขึ้นsummary วันที่เพราะวันที่28เขาออกแทงเขามีเดี๋ยวถึงเขาเฮ็ดถึงวันที่1วันที่2เนี่ยเขาเยาวันที่1วันที่2คาริกว่ากะโลเขามีสอนถึงสิจะดีถึงกะโลวันที่2วันที่3คาริกว่าพังพงวันที่4กว่าตะกุงเฮ็ดจังได๋เพราะวันที่4วันที่5ที่6พอวันที่6ให้กว่าอินเดียวันที่8มากขึ้นวันที่11วันที่11นะเจ้าคุณทะเลงทำด้วยพี่ออกลงเขา2ขอตันเพราะขอตันให้เด็กคนอีพีโดกัน
ดีกับเขา
เขาทั้ง10เขาทั้ง10ให้เด็กถ้วยห้องถ้วยเหลืออิน
เขาบัดหมด
เขาให้10
ตัวเคยอยู่มาจริงๆหลายคนเลยก็ดูตัวจักกันเลยเรา
เพื่อนไทยภาษาศาสนาเนี่ยมันเล็บทุกเรื่องหน่อยเคยอย่างในสภาเอกะมันเอกเอาใครสื่อในชิมแทงใช่ครับมันเอกในเอาใครว่ามันเอกเอาใครซื้อแถมบอกให้3-4เอกะอย่างนั้นผมมีก็ที่มีหมอกขาอื่นผมหมอก2เอกะกันนะผมง่ายพอเลยหมอก7เอกะจ้องไทยเขาแล้วมี9เอกะพอหาหนึ่งดึกที่ส่วนใครแถวหมอย2กันพอขึ้นตัวขึ้นมันพระกับไม้1ตัวถึงไม้6เนี่ยมันได้เราอนัตตาเราอนัตตาว่าลาที่ว่าบุริษแห่งยูนิคละอนัตตา1 ถึง 6นั้นมันหลับเนี่ยอนัตตาพออยู่ที่หน้าเนี่ยมันทำหลักกว่ามันอิหลักมันเห็นหลักมันขึ้นเสือไว้ foundation ตาอย่างมันถ้ามันเห็นหลัก1 ถึง 6ในมันเอาอนัตตาให้เสือไว้แล้วให้7 8 เข้าให้10 11 12แทง6อันซ้ำเป็นมันเป็นเมื่อไกลนั้นเป็น general foundation อันนี้ซ้ำเป็น specific foundation ตา thesis มันเนี่ยนะ7 ถึง 12 7 ถึง 12 7 13 14 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37อันไหนมันทำลาลองอีกสักไหนมันทดลอง methodology มันอันมันที่รู้ดีเลยมันที่ presentation methodology มัน มันถึงมี contextualization อันนั้นเป็น methodology แต่ที่จำ methodology นั่นเองถึงเลยหมอ Sanskrit เองถึงเลยหมออุปนิชฌาตเองไอ้เช่นนั้นนั่นเป็น methodology คนอันรู้บาลีหลายทั้งบาลีเลยทั้งปะอุปนิชฌาตนั่นเนี่ยมันป้องใจหรือก่อนดูปะอุปนิชฌาตป้องใจก็ภาษาเนี่ยพุทธพระเป็นเจ้า response เขานั่นหลัดดอกเขาฉะนั้นช็อตก็ช็อตก้นฉะนั้นก้นนั้นมีทางหันถึงฉะนั้นของก้นนั้นเขาฉะนั้นมีปัญหาจากนั้นก็เลยดูอุปนิชฌาตจากเขาพอเห็น context พอมี context นั้น from all context นั้นมันจังมีปัญหาจังมีปัญหา problems of interpretation ฉะนั้นจูฮันสันเห็นไหมมันตัดเอาในตัวอย่างอันนี้ตัวอย่างพอย่อเนี่ยมันขึ้นมาหลัดขึ้น I would like to make one further ในมันเป็นเอียงมันหลัดเนี่ยมันดีเหตุอีสังเป็นthesis มันเป็นอะไรก็คือนั่นอันมัน I would like to make one further ที่นั่นกว่านั้นชาวเขาที่หันอันทั้งปกติอัน last sentence we shall see more comprehensive description of the elements in chapter 1 but my purpose in commenting on this subject here is to alert the reader to the implications of an analysis of the human being which is given not in terms of what he or she consists of but in terms of what he or she operates อันนั้นนะ conclusion อันนั้นเหมือนกันตั้ง statement ทั้งหนึ่งนะ first ทั้ง last sentence ที่ป๋องเหมือนกันก๋วยเตี๋ยวทั้งเหมือนกันสิที่ป๋องนั่นเหมือนกันทีเดียวอันแทงอันนั้นแทงพระกับมาสองแทงอันนั้นมันคือ justification มันนั่นคือสัมแปลงนี้พอด้วยอัน last sentence you see for this reason some readers may find it helpful to delay reading the first chapter until they have read chapters 2 to 5 and then introduction มัน introduce ปรับมัน chapter นึง having discussed the 5 khandhas I will then go on to discuss 2 other key concepts with regard to the constitution of human being 2 to 5, you know, chapter 1 and 2 to 1 to 5. She talks about the 5 khandhas. Having discussed the 5 khandhas, after that means after the 5th chapter, I will then go on to discuss 2 other key concepts. Okay, Namarupa and Manomaya. That means Namarupa is 1 chapter, Manomaya is another chapter. Or they can be combined in 1 chapter or in 2 separate chapters. So by reading this, you get what she's going to talk about, big picture. In the end, in light of this, in my final chapter, I shall show that there is no justification for holding the body to account for originating the volition, which bind one to the cycle of rebirth. อันนั้นพอเป็นในบราหมณิซึมกับเจนิซึมเขาซ้ำว่าอันเขาข้างอยู่ในสัมสาระเนี่ยเขาไปสั่งเนี่ยก็เป็นอันตูเฮ็ดเนี่ยมันใจมันจะมันน้อยเป็นตูเฮ็ดเนี่ยเจนิซึมเขาขึ้นอย่างนั้นขึ้นขาดูเขานั่นนะขึ้นขามันจะขึ้นขาดูใจเขานั่นขึ้นขาดูเขานั่นขาดูเขากินข้าวน้ำหวานข้าวในอยู่กัดนะข้าวกัดหวานอยู่ไม่ในข้าวไม่ฉะนั้น เขาซ้ำขอโฟกัสที่ตัวเนี่ยนะ the body นั่นนะพอเป็นอุปนิพอเป็นเวทิกเนี่ยก็ sacrifice นะมันเป็น body เนี่ยนะเป็นรูปายนะโฟกัสก็มีที่นั่นแทนก็นั่นเนี่ยมันเอาเทอมันโนมยานาว่าอันเขาทั้งอันเขาจะนั้นว่ามาจะนั้น rubbish เอาเทอมันโนมยาอันไหนมัน discuss ในก็รีส่วนใช่มีใน chapter ก็รีส่วน Okay, see you tomorrow. You see.